Hey guys, welcome back. I'm so excited. Today I have Amanda Bella of Bella Talks TV from live from New York City. Is that right? Are you in New York or are you
Yes.
in the
Yep. I'm
Hamptons?
in New
Okay.
York and I can't believe it sometimes. I'm from the Midwest originally. I grew up in Michigan and then lived in Chicago for 10 years and was pretty much there from like 20 to 30-ish. So like the best years of my life. And
I'm going to Chicago for my birthday actually. I'm so excited. I'll have to
ooh,
get some recs
yes,
from you. Yeah.
absolutely. I'll send you to all the great places. And it really was like the best years ever. And I never thought I would be in New York, but just shows you like where life, you never know where it will take you. So here I am now. Like sometimes I say it and I'm like, wow, I am here. But it's been a wild journey.
I love that. I kind of want to hear a little bit more about that. So, we are going to do some pop culture. We have a couple stories today. I've been busy as shit, so I haven't like prepared as much. So, we're just going to kind of riff. I will say I did sprain my ankle this weekend cuz like I'm old and I literally just fell off a little ramp. Um that
Oh
has nothing to do, I
no.
just with anything in the stories being prepared because normally I was like actually was in bed all weekend, so, like, I could have prepared better, but, I didn't because whatever, but I have some great stories for us, but before we get into that, I do wanna hear, like, so what made you, like, move to New York and, like, start a podcast, and do you have another job? I know people ask, like okay, I will say when I have guests on, I get so excited and I ask 17 questions at once. But those are
I
my
love
three
it though.
questions.
No,
I
those are
want to
all great
know
questions.
what brought you to New York, why podcasting, and do you do something else on the side?
Yes. So they all kind of, of course, meld together really into one. It's all part of my story. But like I said, from the Midwest, I went to school for psychology and I actually
Ooh.
studied comparative religion also. So it
Oh,
is so
cults. I
random.
love
Like
that.
I just am clearly somebody, I am like textbook, like small town girl that was like, I need to get out and see the world and see other cultures. And I just was always chasing that dream of like seeing everybody and meeting different people from the world. And that's really my passion, I think, is just people. So I think that that's why I leaned into podcasting because it is truly so like, it is just having a conversation with a friend. It is like the
I love
coolest
it.
thing ever that's
Same.
been created. Like we
And
now
how long
used
have
to
you
get. Oh yeah, go
sorry, I
ahead.
was going to say how long have you done it?
Okay, so I started this podcast about a year ago, but I had another podcast before that was called Anti Basic. And this is really this is like a deep cut for like the Amanda Bella OG fans
I
because
love it.
I really started podcasting with I think that same passion for why I even went to school and studied psychology and religion and everything. I just wanted to learn and like wanted to also spread the things that I learned through getting a psychology degree and like working in different, cultures and seeing different religions of the world and stuff. And I started my first podcast, and that's what it was all about. It was all about like being anti-basic, like finding things about your personality that are going to help you stand out, like learning your own emotional intelligence. And I just really got into that for a while. And as you start to podcast, you kind of just start to be like, I kind of think about it like creating albums. Like Beyonce doesn't just put the same
Mm,
album out every time. Like she kind of
that's so
reinvents
good.
herself a little bit, and like she has more than one story to tell and more than one thing to say. Kind of like Taylor Swift in her era is like, I
Mhm.
had my anti-basic era, and then I was like, you know what? I got so deep there and I love talking about that stuff. And like my friends too will always be like, wow, you can really tie housewives like back to any type of like deep psychology
Oh my
thing.
god, same. Yes, I love that. I mean, you probably have the credentials, but yeah, same. I've gone to enough therapy to be like self-proclaimed
Yeah, we're all
therapist.
like
You know what
armchair
I mean?
experts, especially when it comes to
Right,
reality shows and like these people that we see, these kind of like case studies that we're doing.
right.
And I just saw like a natural bridge from there. I'm like, okay, I am an OG Bravo reality TV fan, like going all the way back. I mean, I was really a real world person. Like I said, I think growing up in a small town, like I just saw this on TV and I had a sister that was 7 years older than me. So she would kind of show me these things that maybe I was a little too young to see, like the real world. Like
Right.
I was probably in like fourth or fifth grade or something when I started watching, which is pretty young, pretty promiscuous and like controversial
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
that was being approached and talked about on these shows. But I was really into that, and that just led into other things, even like the Osbournes that were on MTV, and like seeing like that first like family reality TV show and learning about celebrities living in these places that were so different than my family. And
Mhm.
so that was really like the gateway. But then Jersey Shore, I think, was like my next huge like reality show of just like, wow, these people are people that I've never seen like anything like this in my life. And I just got so
Mhm.
fascinated with that. So reality TV just hit for me from when I was really young. I've followed all of these shows and a lot of these stories of these people, these like characters for some of them now like 10, 20 years, which I'm
Right.
37. So it's like not that far off. Like I really started watching these shows that long ago. So I think just a combination of like my passion for people, a little bit of just the need to like have this creative endeavor in general, and just having like a hobby and something to do, to be honest. Like it's important to have those things too. And then I just combined all those things and like wrapped it into one. And that's how I came up with Bella Talks TV now, because I'm like, I need to take all these passions and like talk about something that isn't maybe so serious and so heavy all the time too.
Well, and I like your structure where you do like your, kind of like top 5 stories of the week, then you have like an LOL and an oh my god moment, and I think just like different types of structures, well, the same structure but kind of ebb and flow throughout each episode. And one of the ones that I listened to was the It Ends With Us episode, and you were like, this is so heavy, and I was like, oh my god, like, is this heavy? Like, I feel like I'm talking about that shit too. Should I put a disclaimer? I don't know. I personally hate trigger warnings. I feel like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Like, are people really listening to something and then just getting so triggered to where they have like a visceral reaction and then they like turn it off? Like, just next, just turn it off.
Right. You are right about that. Like, I have a mixed feeling about them. Like, I appreciate them in certain situations. Like, I do think the Blake Lively of it all got me like so worked up, because
Yeah.
that is, I do think for the movie itself, for a movie like that, that will reach so many people of all ages, like that, I think warranted a trigger warning. I
Yeah.
do. I do. I think people going to see that needed to know, like, these are going to be
Oh,
things depicted in this. And,
absolutely. Mhm.
but do I need to be warning like my IG followers that I'm going to, like, you're right. Like, I think that these large scale things, it's almost like there's going to be a bigger butterfly effect from that. So you have to be
Yeah.
more responsible with what you're putting out there, because it is going to have a bigger thing. But you're right. Like, sometimes I think we're really like, it is, we are all responsible for ourselves at the end of the day. And this is a lot of the stuff I used to talk about on my old podcast before I was like, I can't educate everybody on emotional intelligence. Like, I had this
Right.
burden of me trying to like get everybody to like wake up to the idea that they like needed to be self-aware.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, for after a while, I'm like, you know what? Like, people are going to do them. People are going to learn their
Right.
lessons of life on their own time through their own journeys. And it's more about us just like kind of supporting them along the way. And you're right. Like, trigger warnings, yes. Are they
I love
necessary?
that.
Yes. Like, we need to be careful, and we don't want to be like offending people who have been through dark and serious things. But like, at the end of the day, these are things that happen, and it's almost like you kind of have to accept that fact.
Mhm.
You can't just be like, oh, trigger warning, like, oh, I'm just gonna like shut it off and not listen. It's like, okay, trigger warning, but like, listen why this is important and why this is like a serious topic.
Right. Like, kind of like educate yourself, and I guess maybe trigger warning, like brace yourself for like what's to come. I get it. Um really quick, why did you move to New York from the Midwest? Were you just like you said, small town girl, wanted to see the world, or you moved there with, did you say husband? You're married?
Yes, yes. So it was 2019. So I had been in Chicago for 9 years, and I had like, the quintessential like big city dating escapades of life. Like, it was really
Mhm.
for forever. Like, ups and downs, roller coaster relationships, like moving in and out of living with boyfriends. Like I did it. I feel like I got it
Mhm.
all out of my system. Like
Mhm.
I had the best time ever there. And I think I had just turned 30, 32 or something. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I think I'm ready. Like, I think I'm ready to like go on to the next chapter of life. And I was thinking about, do I move back to Michigan and try to like get married and have kids? Like, these are real crossroads of like a woman of America, like these
A
are real
woman of
decisions
a
we have to
certain
make.
age. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
like I'm in my 30s now. Like, am I just gonna like stay here forever and like deal with these fuck boys? Because it was clear that it was like the universe was showing me like, bitch, this ain't it. Like you need to go move somewhere else because you've exhausted like every route here. And
Mhm.
it's so cheesy, but like it is so important for me again to like spread these practices. I feel like to like let the girlies know like this shit does
Yeah.
work. Like I really manifested myself like out of Chicago because it was my birthday and I remember sitting with my friends and like hashtags and stuff had kind of just been like invented and hashtagging
Mhm.
was like really big. And so they were like, what do you want your birthday hashtag to be?
Oh,
And I'm
like
like,
the
let's
custom ones, like the wedding and then the birthday, the
yeah, they
bachelorette.
were like,
Yeah, yeah,
everyone's like,
yeah.
we got to like know what to tag. This was like, part of the
Right,
times.
right, right.
And I'm like, I am manifesting. I need to manifest a man this year. So we did like hashtag manifest, like the
Oh, that's
MAN.
cute.
And I'm like, this is the year I'm going to meet my husband. Like I'm putting
Okay,
it
Charlotte
all out
York.
there. I really was like, you know what? I'm ready. Like I just felt it in my gut. And
I
that was
love
in
that.
July and November of that year. And it's so funny too. Like people always used to ask me like, do you want to stay in Chicago forever? Like, what are you going to do? And I always said like, I'm down to move. I was like, I think I would have to go to LA or New York because I think Chicago, like once you've been there, I just needed to like go up. I don't think I could like reverse and go back to a smaller town again.
Mhm.
And so I really was like, I would be down to move to New York. And this was, I think, all in that birthday conversation of just like what I wanted for myself that year. And like by November, I had mutual friends come into town to Chicago. They were like, come out tonight, the typical thing. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I don't know. Like I have a birthday party, like I'm busy. Like I was kind of almost like blowing them off. And
Right.
there was just something in, again, like my gut that told me like, okay, fine, I'll just go stop by for one. And not even knowing that like my future husband would be there. And I got there,
Oh,
we
I have
literally met.
chills.
It was like love at first sight too. Like it was so cheesy because it was so like Chicago club. It was back to when like I feel like speakeasy style places. Like I had to like go through like a kitchen and like go down a stair and like it was
Right.
like a weird club that like not a lot of normal people go to. And so I feel like I went through like a lot that night to like get there. And yeah, I met him and I just knew right away. Like for like lack of a better word, he just has like swag. He has like that New York. He's like the guy that
I
wears like a New
love
York
that.
Yankees hat and just has like he's Italian. So like, and I think all of my years of Jersey Shore,
I
like
literally was gonna say, literally, you manifested this from
yeah.
Jersey Shore. Like you knew when you were 10 years old that you were gonna marry a Guido. Not to say that your
No,
husband's
I
a
like
Guido,
put
but
it out there. Like I was like,
you
damn, like
literally
these guys are
Real
different
Houses
than
of
the
New
guys I grew up
Jersey.
with. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, I love that. That's so funny. Oh my
So
God,
long
that's so
story short, I
cute.
met him in Chicago. We started dating long distance, and that was the end of 2018. So then early 2019, I had like used up all of my vacation days. I used up all my sick days. I used to work in like medical administration. And
Mhm.
so I just like loved working with people. I was like a patient treatment coordinator. So I would like help
Mhm.
people prepare for surgeries and stuff and like make sure like when you go to like get something done, they give you like a packet and like get you like they kind of like I would always like love to calm people down before like having like serious things and like let them know things were going to
Mm.
be
I
okay.
love
Like
that.
it's kind of how I
Yeah.
used my psychology degree for a while, just like working with people and working in the medical field. And I had just like used up all my vacation days and I told my boyfriend, at the time, I was like, I really like can't just be coming to New York to see you like every other weekend anymore. Like I do have a job. And he was like, quit your job. And I was like, what? Like, are you sure? And it's crazy looking back now. Like we just got married in April. So it's been
Oh,
6 years
congratulations.
of this. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was great. The
Wait, so
pandemic
you don't
hit
You don't work in New York? You just podcast?
Well, I don't. You're right. I teach yoga now, so
I
that's
was gonna
so
okay,
during
I'm
the
gonna kill myself.
pandemic.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I'm gonna kill myself. You get to do a
No,
fun career.
no.
I
Honestly,
love
I hate to be like
that.
that. No, I'm kind of like, it's nice to have somebody ask the questions because you're right. Like, I really am not, I don't want to ever like brag or like be like that. But like, I, this is
No,
important.
bitch,
I'm just
brag.
going to say it
Stand
for the
on
girlies.
business.
I'm saying it for the girlies because my friends do tell me all the time, like, bitch, how did you do this? Like, how
I
did you
need to
meet a
know
man who,
what chant you did, what hashtag you used, what restaurant you were at in Chicago when I'm going for my 32nd birthday,
yes,
mind you.
yes,
Like,
you're right.
we need to recreate that. And I would also love to move to New York. Like, I mean, that's great.
Yeah, you have
I'm
to be
going to let you
willing to put
finish,
it
but
out
I'm,
there. No, you have to
yeah,
be willing. That's like the biggest lesson in all of this is that I was so open. I was so down for whatever. Like I was like, you know what? Like all I know is that I want love, but like I don't care where it comes from, what it looks like, where I have to go for it. Like I just was willing to do whatever for it. And I think a lot of people hold themselves back by having so
yep,
many restrictions on what they're willing to accept and do. It's like sometimes it's not going to be so perfect. And sometimes you're like not meant to just be in the bubble maybe that you've created for yourself. Like some
right.
people that's great for them, but you know, not to tie it back to like reality TV, but this is the story of my life. Like I can always find an example of something on TV to like kind of
Right.
mimic what I'm going through. And I think about this mom talk show that's coming out with The Secret
I
Life
can't
of Mormon
wait.
Wives.
I cannot
And I
wait.
think about them, like, you know, they got married at such a young age and they're in this bubble and like they were just drawn to like get out. Like they're gonna have this reality show. They're like, I have all these millions of followers. Like sometimes you're just not meant to just be on this small like journey. You're meant for like something bigger. And if you're willing to be
Mhm.
open to see where it takes you, like you never know where it's gonna go. So I'm so happy to
Preach
be
the
in New
sir.
York. I can't believe I'm
Yeah,
here.
I feel like we're on the same wave in terms of like mindset and stuff. And I mean, literally, I feel like my friends and fans that are listening, they're probably like, oh my God, this is literally what Rhea talks about all the time. So no, I love that. And thank you so much for sharing. And I think it does give us girlies hope. Like, I think you really, yes, I believe in destiny and fate, but I also believe like you have to also kind of grab life by its horns and make something of yourself, like there's a lot of people with unfortunate circumstances that really make something of themselves. And that's why I don't mean to sound harsh because I do have a lot of empathy for people, but I don't really have a lot of sympathy, which I definitely think is different because, yes, I can empathize with your situation, but like now what are we going to do about it? Like my whole thing is like you cannot just like lay down and die and unpack there. And if you want to, that's fine. Like make that choice, but don't be all like, woe is me. Like, babe, you chose to unpack there. Now, you also have the choice to pack up and move on, whether that be figuratively or literally. You know what I mean? And I just think people have more power than they realize. And once you like really get a taste of that power and like realize kind of like you harness that inner power, higher self, truly everything's limitless. The world is your oyster and life is just like so fun. Like it really is. And I know like yes, we can look at the news and stuff. I mean, I personally don't, but yes, but I just think you give life and breath of what you feed yourself. And I'm not saying live in a bubble per se, but like, you know, sure, maybe we can't all end world hunger right now, but we can do little things each day that maybe, pours back in our community or, like you're making little impacts on your neighborhood or your city or even the state. Maybe you do state legislation. I mean, I don't know. It's like, and then at that point, you're making like some sort of small to bigger impact, right? Like, sure, maybe you're not just out here on a throne curing world hunger, but it's like you also are at the same time on a different, more realistic scale,
Yes, definitely.
Anywho, that's
And
my soapbox on that.
yes, and that's such an important thing for people to realize is that like you said, they really have it within themselves and they're able to kind of like create whatever life they want, but that comes with a lot of responsibility. And I think a lot of people maybe have fear of having that much power and having, they would rather kind of blame others. And we see a lot of those themes again on a lot of these shows, and a lot of these reality shows that we watch are like built on the back of that. Like we almost celebrate them kind of fumbling so much. And
it's kind of dystopian.
It is. And I think yes, exactly. And it really shows us that, I don't know, like we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of inner work to do. And it's kind of like a mirror to a lot that we're getting a lot. Like a lot of the times the things that we're complaining about with others are things that maybe like we do and we like self-loathe within ourselves. And so I always am taking everything with a grain of salt and like being sure to like, I try not to use my platform to just spew hate or like spread insane gossip.
There's enough.
Like, there is so much of that out there. And there's also like kind of almost like a stigma that almost comes with podcasting, especially about certain topics, like even just as silly and stupid as Bravo, because it can be a cesspool. Like it can really be a toxic environment. And so just trying to be like kind of a light in it. I'm not perfect, and I definitely have I probably don't always support like the best people. Some people would say like hot takes, but but at least it's at least having that integrity and that like I can never say that word. Ingenuity. That at least like I am being authentic. So,
and I think that's all that matters. And it is hard. And I think people will see that and hear that and receive that. And like you say, if you like have guests on and you disagree or vice versa, or even conversations in the wild, like, babe, doesn't mean I hate you. Like, okay, I'm listening to Amanda, but okay, didn't agree with this, but not gonna cancel her, which is just crazy. But you know what I mean? Like, I think having conversations to where you don't 100% agree with everything somebody says is, I mean, nice. It's like normal. Like it's just getting different perspectives in people. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. So like I said, it didn't prepare too much. Fuck me. Whatever.
Yeah, no, this is great. It's honestly just really great to like get to know you too. And like I said, like I'm interested to see like where you and I will have like a meeting of the minds on some of these things, Oh
my God, me too. And maybe I'll just move to New York and then we'll be best friends.
Okay, yes, anyways. Please. We're gonna be manifesting all of the things together.
#32, bitch. Where you entered your Sex and City era. I'm about to enter my Sex and City era because Carrie was 32 when she moved to New York. It's okay. We will get there.
I didn't even realize that fact. That is so much.
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
That's wild.
I love that. Okay, let's get into some reality, or just, I don't know why you said reality. You're on my mind. Some hot topics for this week, some hot stories. So as we know, Ben and Jen are divorcing.
Yes, they are. Yikes. I mean, I know.
I honestly like a little shocked. I really thought they would just like, because like all of the rumors that have been going on over the past, I don't know, 6 months, maybe even this last year, about how since her crazy documentary came out. Anyways, how they were like living separate. I really thought they would just live separate till the end. Like I really, especially like 2 years, like no way in hell did I think she was going to file for divorce on their second anniversary. That is diabolical.
It is. I think that was definitely like curated. I read something or heard something somewhere that it was April 26th was the date that she actually incited as kind of the beginning of the irreconcilable differences. So even though it wasn't until August 20 whatever that she filed, it had been going on for months, about 4 months of this. And I think that, I think we all know that when you hit your breaking point, you're done. And there was a few things that happened over the summer, including her Bridgerton birthday that he wasn't at. And I think she probably was like, okay, there's some milestones coming up. And like, if he doesn't hit these milestones by the anniversary, I'm filing.
I totally get that. Like, honestly, I'm such a birthday freak. I tell you,
Yes, she's a Virgo. Her Virgo birthday.
No, she's a Leo.
Or is she Leo, Virgo, cusp? I can never remember, but she's
she's
again
a Leo, and Ben is a Leo as well.
Oh yes, yeah.
And A-Rod is Leo, and surprisingly, A-Rod is like the best match. I really think she should have just got over the Madison LaCroix of it all and like still married him.
Me too.
Me too. I'm gonna say, I know this is controversial. I know that, like, you know, Ben has his flaws, right? The crazy back tattoo, cheating on like all of these, you know, Jen Gardner, the alcohol abuse. I am team Ben in this one because, bitch, you divulged to the world my deepest, darkest love notes to you. I just feel like that's a betrayal, not because I'm embarrassed that I wrote that, but like because that was something sacred between us. And by the time I found out about it, you had already shown literally the whole world, and it had already been in your documentary at this point. And then you know, catch me at the end of it and be like, wait, what? Like, I'm gagged. Like, I knew that was over. It was over for him at that point. It would have been over for me. And I'm not saying, you know, they weren't tit for tat and like they weren't doing shit this whole time, but like that to me is like really the ultimate betrayal. Like, that's not cool. I don't like it.
I agree. I think it's kind of going down in flames, which, like, I think everybody kind of expected them to almost quietly quit each other, but like, why? Because we know that they are both known kind of for these tumultuous breakups and the ends of marriages. So it is interesting why we kind of thought like this was going to slip under the radar, but of course it's not. And I think, you know, Ben, I'm also kind of team Ben in this too. I think that it really makes me wonder. And of course, we're never going to know the truth, but if I had to guess, I think it does have a lot to do with that whole A-Rod Madison situation, because again, like, remember, she was really mortified. Like, J-Lo was totally, I think she had no idea, which again, like, it's one thing when you catch your man cheating and you know he's been doing you dirty.
I don't need to laugh.
But it's another thing when you actually do think your man's obsessed with you and you find out he's cheating. Like, that hits different.
On a like a Bravo celebrity nonetheless. Like, J-Lo's probably like, who the fuck is that? Like, J-Lo only watches J-Lo movies. You know what I mean? She's like a Gwyneth Paltrow. Like, she invites people over to watch Romeo and Juliet or whatever movie she was in. Like, I've literally heard that she will have like watch parties of like her own movies, which I don't know. I guess I kind of love that.
Very on brand.
I literally know, like, for a Bravo, and I love Madison LaCroix. I think we would get along great. I think,
same.
Honestly, I just think she would breathe, and I would find her shit fucking funny. I'm like, slay, bitch. Like, that's hilarious.
I'm obsessed with her. Like, I am too. I get it.
But yeah, the whole A-Rod situation, and Craig spilling the tea.
Craig, knowing that Craig basically was the one to confirm what was needed in order to really break them up. And like, there was no time in between. Like, without going back and looking, like, it was a very quick leap back from A-Rod breaking up back to Ben. And it was clearly like, okay, let me go back into my, okay, I can't be like embarrassed like this. Like, let me go back into my, who can I call right now that I know will answer? And I think she, you know, maybe took advantage of the fact that she knew maybe when her and Ben originally broke up, that it was like he was kind of the one that was more heartbroken. So she kind of went back into that, like, what ex can I call that I know will still be down? And I think, you know, who knows what Ben's real motives was too. Like, in the beginning, I was somebody who really believed it was just PR. When they actually got married, I was like, holy shit, like, they actually did rekindle. Like, I thought they were just rekindling for PR, but then the marriage was what blew my mind.
This was giving them the original celebrity name, moniker, Bennifer, and then Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth getting married. I believed in love so hard. And then when they both broke up in like 6 months, I mean, I know J-Lo and Ben were like 2 years, and I think Miley Cyrus and them were like 6 months or like under a year, like right out a year. It doesn't matter. I was shattered. I was like, holy shit, like, what's the point? And I do agree with you that she went back into her bucket and was like, who can I call? And I'll never forget, I saw this one post, and for the life, it was years ago, but it's been burned in my brain, especially since they rekindled and everything. I'll never forget, she went to the movie theater to go see one of his movies. For the life of me, can't remember what movie, but this is like years ago when she was dating A-Rod. Oh, so maybe not that long ago. Or maybe when who did she date before A-Rod? Doesn't matter.
Gosh. I mean, was she with
But they
Mark
were together
Anthony?
for a while, right? Yeah, they were together. Her and A-Rod were together for a while, right?
Yeah, I think
Like
so.
3 years, 4
it
years
was
or something?
years. Yeah.
Years. Okay. Well, I remember,
Their
I think
families
she
were
was
like
with
very intertwined. Like, I remember
blended.
they were like
Yeah.
blended. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember she was with A-Rod, and she goes to the movies and she's wearing these like tennis shoes. I don't know, like cream tennis shoes, whatever. She has her like feet up, and she posts a picture, and she's like, I'll always support like all of my exes or something like that, or like, I'll always support you, like proud of you, Ben, or something like that. I remember she posted that, and I think, was this when he was still married to Jen Gardner? Probably not. I don't know, but I just remember being like, oh, that's kind of bizarre, but I guess they ended on like, quote, good terms, or they worked it out and like are friendly and so kind of support each other from afar and like whatever. Like, okay, that's nice, because I don't see her doing that with like anybody else, right? So when she went back to him after A-Rod, I was like, oh my God, this is like always, they were the ones that got away. They were the original Bennifer. They were the original celebrity melted name. I mean, truly, like Google Images came to fruition because of her green Versace dress. And then she
Yes.
was the original celebrity mesh name. And I mean, that's pretty iconic if you ask me, but I'll just never forget that. And then I can't believe it like crashed and burned so hard. And now that video is resurfacing with Jane Fonda and J-Lo on the phone, and Jane Fonda is being like, Jen, like, I'm a bit worried. You guys are out there calling the paparazzi, kissing and hugging, like, just be natural. She's like, that is us. We're natural. And it's like, oh, okay.
Okay, hon. Yeah. I don't think anybody believes that anymore, unfortunately. But kudos to her for sticking to her story.
I mean, truly. And I've said before, I'll say it again. Like, honestly, everybody should be as delusional as J-Lo is. Like, you should really believe in yourself that hard. We could all take a little page out of her book. Now, do I think I've heard truly the worst things. I don't know. I still think I would be like, oh my God, J-Lo stepped on my foot. That is so funny. Like, I don't know. Like, I just think because she's in that so delusional and out of touch category for me, that she truly can't do wrong because she's always doing wrong. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
She's like
just kind of
diva
like accept
status.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's like
Well,
allowed to. Like, I don't hate her. Like, I'm not like mad at her. I don't think she needs to like go away. I just think it's like she's just been knighted almost as like one of
right.
these stars of a certain capacity.
Caliber. Yeah.
Yes. And we just kind of accept her. I think we all like accepted her for who she is. I don't think we're even like mad that she's getting divorced. We're just like, yeah, this is J-Lo.
No, yeah, it's so J-Lo. Well, I saw over the weekend that Ben is allegedly dating Kick Kennedy, which is Robert F. Kennedy's niece,
Yes,
daughter.
it is. Yep.
Which actually is so crazy because Robert F. Kennedy is married to the girl on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Is that
Yeah,
it?
Cheryl Hines.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I
is
love her.
that part of the Heinz ketchup?
Okay, no, it's not. That's a good question. I don't believe it is. No, I think it's spelled differently.
Do you know? Okay, speaking of Heinz ketchup, I've been wanting to kind of talk about this. You know that new commercial that's like, I'm Cheryl Hines or whatever Jeanette. Sorry, did you just say Cheryl Hines?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Jeanette Hines, the heir to the Heinz ketchup. I can't be seen dipping my French fries in anything but Heinz ketchup. Like, and she's like, it's like a Heinz commercial. And she's like, do you guys have Heinz ketchup? And they like they're like, oh my God, Jeanette Hines is, okay, they bring out the Heinz ketchup. I went down like a weird kind of rabbit hole because I'm like, is this the real Heinz heir? Like, they got to do a commercial. Turns out it was. Turns out also Donald Trump is related by marriage, like removed, to the Heinz dynasty. Is that
Wow.
crazy? I just think
No,
that's such a weird Americana full circle moment. You know what I mean?
yes, that makes a lot of sense. That was like when I started to learn that like football teams were owned by like billionaires that own other companies. And I would be like, oh, like I didn't, it took me like until my 30s or probably, to understand like how some of these things in the world work, that like all of these
Right.
huge conglomerate people are all like married and like intertwined, even in as much as like some of these like nepo baby or like these nepo marriages that happen. It's like, oh, like this goes on a lot in this like 1% of people, that
Right.
everybody's related through marriage somehow. Like,
Well, and I didn't
weird.
know that Gracie Abrams was JJ Abrams' daughter. It makes so much sense. And then Nepo
Yeah.
Baby, we'll talk about, the Biebers, Justin and Haley, and they were
Yes.
set up and whatnot. But going back to Kick, yeah, I guess they're dating or something. He looks kind of happy. And also I saw that JLo was like, you can't hang out with Matt Damon. And then I saw him getting like dinner with him and his wife over the weekend too.
Oh yes, I did see that. I'm not surprised. I'm kind of glad someone's got to be there for Ben, because like you said, we're a little bit like Ben leaning in this. So like I want to
Yeah.
see Ben having some support. We know that Ben is like a fragile with his substance abuse. We don't want him having any type of relapses or anything. Like Matt Damon, if he needs to come and spend some extra time and take him to dinners and set him up on some like cheesy, blind dates or whatever, or like have some friends come through, like let the man have some fun. Like I think
Yeah.
we all know like Ben hasn't really like looked happy for a while, and you could tell that he
Literally like the whole 2 years, honestly, because I saw
yes.
a picture of him smiling in this Nirvana t-shirt and I was like, where's that smile come from?
Yeah, he lost his sparkle, kind of like Brittany and Jax. Like he like lost his sparkle in this marriage, and I think he needs to like find himself again. Like I don't think Kick is going to be it. I think that I've already heard rumors that his camp is like denying it anyway.
Mhm.
So I don't know how much truth there is to that. I heard that there was some kind of interview. Actually, this is funny. Did you read about this? There was an interview that Kick Kennedy did, I think for Vogue or like Rolling Stone or some kind of huge, maybe New York Times, it was some kind of like huge publication. This was a while ago. And she tells this story about her dad, RFK, tells the story about him. I guess a whale had washed up to a shore when they were during like a vacation, a family vacation. And this whale was dead. And he, I guess, has this weird obsession with like animals and like taxidermy and like all of this stuff. So I know I've been like,
What?
I went down like a Kick Kennedy rabbit hole when I read about this.
I kind of love
So
that name, Kick Kennedy.
I love the name. I love the name, and I
Yeah.
love like a weird celebrity like
Yeah.
child name. I'm like, if you are a celebrity and you don't name your child a weird name, like are you even a celebrity? Like I think that's, you have to do that. So I get mad when they don't.
Yeah.
But love the name Kick. But yeah, she tells the story that her dad like finds this dead whale on a beach and he ties it to the top of their car and like insists, no, which again is like illegal. Like that's totally illegal. Like you can't. That's like messing with like the ecosystem of the earth. Like you can't be doing that stuff.
Isn't his campaign about environmentalists?
Yes,
He's
he does
like
all
a
this
big
weird stuff.
like environmental guy, isn't he? I'm not sure.
Yeah, he was
Everybody
determined
was
to take this gross whale. Yeah.
Well, no, I was gonna say everybody was like team RFK in the beginning, and then they were like, "Oh, he's weird," and then like I never heard anything about it. So,
Oh yeah,
okay,
like
so
I
he
can't
took
even begin
the
to go
whale.
down. Yeah, there's so many weird headlines. Like these stories, I have like a dime a dozen for these stories. But he takes this whale or whatever, and Kick recalls this story because I think the question from the interviewer was like, "Oh, tell us what it was like growing up with him as your dad, and like what
Oh
did you guys
God.
do on family vacations?" And she told this like horrifying story of him stealing this whale, and she said that there was like whale juice like dripping so much from the body of the whale that he had like the windshield wipers on, and there was just like goo coming from this whale and stuff. And that just led down other like stories that they uncovered, and all of these weird headlines have come out about him. And I think like
That's
Kick
petrifying.
Kennedy, yeah. I think part of that interview though, I think what I had heard was that they had asked her like who your celebrity crush is, and she said Ben Affleck. And this was a while ago. This was like in the 2019, 2020, like this was an old
Uh-huh.
interview. So I think just a lot of things are coming out from people looking her up. And I think that maybe they found this old interview of her. They read that Ben
And then
Affleck was like her celebrity crush. And then the PR machine just started like working. Again, too, we know that like J-Lo is going to not want to look like the bad guy here. So I think
right.
her team is working overtime to like dig up stuff about Kick to kind of like put out into the machine already to be like, oh, to hopefully keep them from like, you know, dating or doing something. So it's just all the PR machine working behind the scenes and this like celebrity culture. But whew, yeah, you just never know what you're going to learn when you Google somebody.
You truly don't. Okay, well, speaking of baby names that are normal, Jack Blues Bieber. I kind of like
Yeah,
it.
it's a
But
cutie name.
what happened to Plum? What happened to Plum Bieber? I thought that
Did you
was
hear that?
yeah. Did you?
See, I didn't hear that rumor. I
Okay,
heard
so
Baldwin. I heard she was going to name it maybe Baldwin Bieber. And I was
oh,
really into that because
that's
her maiden name
cute.
is Baldwin. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
I thought that
that.
would have been so cute. But then I guess there's like rifts in her and her family. So,
About
yeah.
what?
I don't think that okay, so I think, do you remember, and I'm not going to know the full, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's something with her sister, I think.
Oh, with the bloody tampon, that's crazy.
Yes. Yes. So I think ever since
But as a
bloody
girl,
tampon was thrown at that bartender, I think she's been like not claiming Baldwin as her like last name for a little while.
I don't know, but as a girl on her period who's kind of ragey, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, as a
I'm not
PMDD sufferer, like you
right.
never know what I'm
Like,
gonna do.
sorry, I'm mentally ill. Okay, sue me. Like, excuse. Yeah. So I heard that I don't know. This girl came up with some like crazy theory that well, one, it was going to be twins because she kept using the same emoji twice and then like a different emoji. So it was like double different.
Oh.
And then so they thought it was going to be twins and then what it was a boy and a girl and then one of the names was going to be Plum because she made an Instagram Plum. Like she like Plum Bieber or something like that. So
Oh.
like they found it and it said like by Hailey Bieber and you know whatever. I also oh my God, sorry, I just choked. I also really like the name Road, and I know that's her brand, and I know it's probably already trademarked, and I guess because it's already her brand, but I would like the name like Plum Road Bieber. Ooh, that was really
Oh
cute.
yeah,
That's
that's so good.
cute.
I love Plum. Like I said, like
But Plum's
very like Apple,
cute.
kind of like Gwyneth and
I don't like
Apple, like
that.
Haley and yeah, Haley and
But I don't
Plum.
like that. But yes, Plum I think is kind of cute. So they were saying that because she like posted a picture of her like eating a plum, like it had a bite taken out of, and then she, you know, made an Instagram Plum Bieber, and then all of a sudden it's a boy and his name's Jack. I mean, I'm fine with Jack. That's Jack Bieber. That's cute. I mean, Jack, Justin, Haley. It's like basic, but and I'm kind of with you on the celebrity train. Although my name is Rhea, so I just want to
Yes.
say that I've always been unique since '92, and everybody's copying the fuck out of me. Also, Disney didn't call me for the pronunciation of Rhea and the Last
True.
Dragon. Okay.
True.
I
Yes.
do love that part of it is like when my exes start to have kids, they're gonna be haunted by my name.
Yep.
I just love that. I'm so
Yes.
weird because like I know they're not thinking about me, but
No, they are.
I'm not
They
thinking about
are.
them either. But
Yeah.
I just
True.
think it's funny because it's like I've always wanted to like be famous and like haunt people and like here's a loophole. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
haunt the haters. But
Yep.
yeah, as somebody who has a unique name, I've really actually hated the influencer train of these like, oh, let's just name our kid Leaf or like
Right.
what was that one influencer that was like we have tumbleweed or like whatever and was like
Yes.
giving
Yes.
Western. Like that's a little far, babe.
Yep, it is. You're right. It can go too far. It can get a little weird. I didn't like love even all of the names of the Kardashian kids. Like some of them, I'm like, we really got lost in the sauce there. Like I really, and
I
not to be
really
like a
hated
hater.
North.
North. That was
It
like
kind
the
of grew on me,
original
but
crazy. Yeah, now I think I'm so used to it that it's not even that crazy anymore. But I really didn't like the ones that like Kylie chose, and I really don't like I really don't like Chloe's son's name. I think it's
Tatum?
Tatum. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just
That's
felt
like a
like that was
normal.
it's like in between. It's not crazy enough where it's like wild, like True. Like True is random as fuck. Like I'm
Yeah,
obsessed with
that's
True.
weird.
So then
But
Tatum is just like weird.
they said that True is like a family name. I don't know if I really believe that, but like I
No,
think
I
that's so weird to name your daughter True. I mean, that one actually is the weirdest.
yeah.
Dream,
Yes. Yeah.
like
So many weird ones.
yeah, I don't know. And then I mean, yeah, it's not my favorite, I will say. Okay, moving on. I lost
Yes.
my train of thought.
No, it's
Moving
okay.
on.
No, I could talk about baby names
Okay,
all day long because there's so
I
many
know.
wild ones.
Oh, did you happen to see or listen to Morgan Wade's new song with Kesha?
Okay, I don't think I gave it a full listen, but I think I saw some lyrics and I think I maybe heard a little clip. And I mean, it's like, how
It,
much longer are we going to pretend that they're
that
not
you
together or
guys
that they weren't together? Like,
weren't
what?
scissoring. Come on. And also with Sutton
So
Stracks,
obvious.
this weekend with her pizza, she's like Scissor Sisters, like with Kyle
Oh, yeah.
Richards, like cutting the pizza, babe. That's crazy.
So insane.
And then
I,
so it came on my, I don't know, Friday, like New Music Friday or country. I don't know. I've kind of been in like a weird because I've been just over music, whatever. I've been like in a weird like country kick lately. So I guess maybe it doesn't matter. Whatever. It came on Spotify and I was like, what the fuck is this? First of all, I love Kesha. I don't think that their voices blended whatsoever. Second of
yeah.
all, I'm reading the lyric because I started over. I'm like, what is this song? And I start reading the lyrics and I'm like, we're in Denver and your shirt's in my bag. And then Kyle's like packing. She's like, oh, that's Morgan's. That's Morgan's. That's Morgan's. I, and now they don't talk. And now they don't talk.
Well, I think that Morgan was really in love with her. I do. I think that this maybe was like a little bit one-sided. And I think Morgan really, I mean, think
And you think,
about when you really take like the sex out of it, like the femaleness out of it, the womanness out of it, when we really eliminate that. Like when a girl, like think if Kyle Richards was a guy, like let's just replace Kyle with like Mauricio. Like this
mhm,
younger girl, she's in her 20s, she wants to be an up and coming star. She's meeting this really famous, not even just her as a person being famous from this huge famous Hilton family. I mean,
right,
I'm sure the stars were in Morgan's eyes. Like, holy
right.
crap, like this person's giving me attention. Even when I met
Attention.
my
Yeah.
husband, I felt that way. And he was like a nobody. I was like, this amazing guy who's successful or whatever is giving me attention and like wants me to like fly me out and it's like that gets addicting. And I think
Right.
Kyle obviously did have feelings for her too and like was maybe experiencing something with her that she had never experienced before. Like they clearly have a connection. But I think
Or
I like have just drove myself crazy about this. Like I think I even just from last year still watching the whole season of Beverly Hills, that I think it has just a lot to do with Kyle just not being ready to address it and her having such a young daughter still who is under 18.
Portia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that and I also think Kyle just was really like not desperate in a bad way, but like just for attention. And I think maybe her cup hadn't been filled in so long that she forgot. And like Morgan, filled that like female friend, bestie, filled the void of losing her best friend. So she not only got a best
Yes.
friend, but also potentially a lover. And it's like you kind of get two for the price of one. And maybe Kyle had a fling. Maybe she was just exploring and then realized, like, okay, I'm not actually a lesbian, but I did have feelings for this person, or she filled some type of void in my life. But I definitely do agree. I think Morgan definitely liked Kyle, whether it was reciprocated or not in the same way. Um, I agree as well. And here's what I've always said. Now, I would like your hot take on this. We all know that the girls are scared of Kathy. Girls meaning Kyle and Kim, let alone Paris is petrified. I don't give a fuck what you say. Paris is petrified of her. Nikki is disassociating all the time. And I just think they have a lot of trauma there, all of them. Okay. I'm not saying Kathy's a bad person. She is a Pisces and she does scare the shit out of me. Do I like Kathy and want to keep her at arm's length? Absolutely. I want to go to the parties. I love Paris. I love the Hiltons. I think I could go on about them. Okay. My thing is, we all know for a fact that fucking Kim and Kyle, especially Kyle, is fucking petrified of Kathy Hilton. So is Paris. Paris is like, if Paris wasn't successful on her own with her businesses and a billionaire on her own without, the Hilton brand, Kathy would completely, I just think, disown her in the sense of her creative outlets, being a DJ and like, being 41 and or almost 42 and like a fucking DJ babe, like grow up. Not telling Paris to grow up. You get what I'm saying. Okay, hold on. I'm going somewhere with this. Kyle, same way. Okay, Paris is like a gay icon. Paris loves the gays. Kyle is potentially a lesbian. She'll never come out because I think both of them are fucking petrified of Kathy. I think because Paris is like a gay icon and does the DJ and like the rainbows and stuff and has her own thing, Kathy accepts it in the public. Do I think that if one of her kids would be gay, bi, lesbian, trans, absolutely fucking not. Kathy Hilton would not allow it in the slightest. Do you think that she would allow her own fucking sister to be gay? I personally don't think so.
Yep.
But what do you think?
No, I agree with you. I think it's not even as much as like allowing. It's just the fact that it is something that I don't even think she would acknowledge. And it's almost what's the point? It's almost like what's the point of even trying to tell her something that she's going to completely like deny and almost act like isn't happening. So it's better just to like not even expose her to what's really going on. She's almost like childlike like that, where it's like, let's not even like tell her because unless Kyle's gonna marry her and have a family with her and commit the rest of her life, there's no point in like getting her involved. But absolutely, just the disapproving. Like I think it would be more of like a talking her out of it too, like. Oh, are you sure? How do you know? Like, I think there would just be like a doubt created around it, and it wouldn't be celebrated.
And Kyle, like, takes Kathy's opinions and words so serious that even just creating a little seed of doubt, same with Paris, would just send them into a spiral.
Yep. And Paris didn't want Kathy to know that she was having kids because she already knew Kathy was going to think that she's a bad mom. So it was like, I can't even tell my mom I'm going to have her, have him, have her, have these two children because Kathy's going to be like, are you ready? Are you sure? I don't think you're going to be a good mom. I don't know. Just stick to the dogs. You're too busy. You're
too old. You want to be a mom at 40.
Yep. So I don't think it's
when I was 40,
I'm not allowing. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's not like she's straight up being like, oh, you're not allowed to. It's just like, okay, but I'm just gonna like mutter a bunch of excuses under my breath of like why I think it's a bad idea and like, okay, but that's just like my opinion. And I actually hate Kathy.
Okay, good. Me too. I do. I don't know if like hate, but I definitely don't see what everybody else is seeing in Kathy. Oh, she's so funny. Oh, she's the babe. I'm seeing an ice queen. What are you saying?
Like, no, Paris in Love ruined me. Like it petrifying. It shook me to my core.
But did you read her book?
No, I don't know if I'm ready.
Cried. Honestly, like you have to, it is too much. And it took me like a while to read it because I did it on an Audible, which I think is worse. Because Paris is narrating it. And I literally kept zoning out thinking that like Paris is just reading a story that she got hired to read. You know what I mean? Forgetting that this is her story. Great writer. Obviously she had like a ghostwriter, like somebody, but like, I do think Paris is really fucking smart. She's not a billionaire, just, for shits and gigs. I mean, sure, she would have money on her own for her family, but she literally has separate, like her own separate entities and brands and $1 billion on top of her family's money. Okay. Like I could go on about Paris Hilton. I think she's great. This book, oh my God, this book was so good. And maybe it is because she's older and she has done a lot of therapy. My mom hasn't done, she's really terrible. Should I cut this out? But my mom hasn't done half the things that Kathy has done in terms of sending me away to like some crazy camp, although I feel like she's definitely tried. But there's no way. Paris is such a better person than I am. There's no way I could ever forgive my parents. I don't care if they were conned as well. I personally, God's still working on me. I can't.
Yep.
So she's like truly a better person than I am. Yep. And I just believe
I love Paris too. I'm a big Paris fan.
And I just believe that Lisa Rinna, I love her also, by the way. I don't care if she stirs the pie. I don't care if she's a little problematic. She was like,
we need our villains.
You literally
villains.
hired me for a job. Like, I'm fucking
Yes.
here to serve because Beverly Hills is so fucking boring. I could get into that. But I so believe Lisa Rinna talking about the fucking DJ when they were in, Aspen or wherever, and how... She called the DJ a slur, right? Was that it?
She called him the F word because he refused to play Michael Jackson. Which is not uncommon in today's world, but we know, Kathy. And if you noticed in that video of her and Sutton singing karaoke, she was singing Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I didn't, but I heard about it that because they just came over like on the weekend, right? Or like that's
her bestie. That's her bestie.
Right.
So it just shows the dark secrets that families and family that are considered friends that are family, like it all out there in like the hills of Beverly Hills. There's so many secrets and so much darkness that goes on out there. So it's
the hills.
We're never really gonna know. I was shocked to see how much we saw on Paris in Love because it really exposed her to be a monster in my eyes. I was really surprised that came out. Because you see, even in that show, she threatened even like the person that was writing Paris's book, and if she's threatening authors, she's definitely threatening Peacock Universal. Like, hey, you can't release this. So
also, I think sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I just think that there's, I think there's a chance there is litigation always possible. I think that they're like the type of family that would be like, we're going to sue, but I don't know. We'll see.
And we have the money and we have the time. Also, like she hates Carter.
Yeah,
and I hate that.
I know.
I will say season 1, I was like, he is a little weird. And then I realized I kind of had like after the season, I was like, you know what? Maybe he's just like camera shy. He's like not good on camera. And he's like he's just this like normal guy who owns businesses and is like I think he's a billionaire too, or like multi-million, whatever, in his own right. And he does not want anything really to do with fame or TV, but he knows that's her life and he supports her. And I came around to it. I have chills because I came around to it in season 2. He like got better on camera. So I think he just came off weird on camera. And because she is also so awkward sometimes and like the baby voices and like then they're awkward and they're feeding off each other's energy because like the cameras are there. I just think it was that. I think he's a doll. I have a friend whose mom is like mutual friends with him and they say great things about him. And also, why would you not be happy that your daughter found love at 40, has dodged all of these crazy bullets about, getting engaged and to these horrible people. Well, not all of them are horrible, but just not the right ones. And like this guy is successful on his own, what's nothing to do with your daughter's money or anything, and like does nothing but support her. And like Kathy she'll say stuff to him. And I was like, what the fuck? That's crazy. Like, and I don't think that they're like aware in the moment because you're so like, again, you're running around, you're hosting, you have camera, you're planning this, whatever. And then all of a sudden you like kind of stop maybe at the end of the day and you're like, wait, what the fuck did she just say? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that
I'm not a Kathy fan.
No, it's a mix of her the power of her and the idea that she just doesn't mean what she say, or that she's almost like, it's like just getting a pass. Like we have a lot of these kind of types of reality stars or celebrities in this culture that like they do crazy things, but because of the status of where they're at or because of this character that they play, they're like too dumb to know. It kind of gives me like Teresa from New Jersey vibes. Like even her friends will be like, she doesn't know she's being malicious. Like she literally just thinks that she's like playing a game and like she's just playing, and it's like she doesn't know. So everyone around her is almost kind of like she trusts me. She like doesn't get it. And I think with Kathy, it's the same thing. They're just like, okay, she doesn't get that she's wildly offensive and she makes everybody uncomfortable. So we're just going to like let it slide because she's powerful and she runs shit and we want to go to the Christmas party. So, which don't we all?
I very, very too would like to go to the Christmas party.
Yeah. Kathy, if you're listening, like,
yeah,
I take back everything I said.
Yeah. We don't hate you. We're just scared of you, to be honest.
We're just frightened of you. Exactly.
Frightened. And I don't like scary that's people. Exactly where you want us to be. Okay, speaking of Jax and Brittany, what the fuck's going on? Is it now Brit's and not Jax's? What's happening, babe?
Oh, I had to run like as fast as my little fingers would allow me to figure out what was going on with this because, okay, I have to think because it is so hard. Like I do not always want to come off like a woman that does not support women. Like
oh my God, thank you. Because I'm a girl's girl, but like, okay, well, yeah, well, yes. But over the weekend, I'm like, oh, I'm a girl's girl. And then I've literally talked to my therapist recently. I'm like, maybe I'm too much in my mind, like a girl's girl, like to where I'm like, no, fuck men. Like, babe, it's okay to be team Ben, team Jax. Like, you know what I mean? And,
there could be terrible women too.
Yeah, like, and there is. And
it happens.
I know in one of your episodes you were like, I'm Team Jax, and I am as well. Not all the time, but I have a story and he is really charismatic and I totally get it. Okay, I'm gonna let you finish because I want to hear your thoughts, your boots on the ground.
I'll just go all in because it's like, you know what, this is what we do this for. So I can already see my followers going down now. But I this is my hottest take about Brittany and Jax is that, okay, to me, it's very clear that I lost sympathy for Brittany, which again, this is not very girl's girl of me, when she still chose to marry Jax because it was so soon after the faith of it all. Like she didn't even let it breathe.
Literally.
She didn't even give us like a 2-season like it was like it just went so quick, and that made me be like, okay, she clearly is desperate to stay in this circle and stay on the show, and she doesn't want to go back to Kentucky. And I think we all know, like I went through a breakup like that in Chicago where I was literally like, okay, like what do I do now? Just like go back to Michigan. And it was like, okay, you have those two choices. And I think she was like, okay, I'm doing absolutely everything I can do to stay from going back to Kentucky. And that's fine. It's almost like being like an immigrant, being like, I'm not going back to my country. I'm staying here. So she was just like fighting tooth and nail to stay there. And you know what? She did it. She worked. She didn't heal her relationship, but she did heal the break enough for the friend group to come back together, support them getting married. A lot of them went and was there, you know, which in the beginning when they got engaged, a lot of people were like, I don't even want to go to this wedding. It's such a sham.
And mind you, they got engaged at like a seafood shack.
Yes, it was very produced.
I've been there. And it's literally on the side of the beach. Yes.
It's on the side of the road on the PCH. And to me, it's like part of why I love Vanderpump Rules is because they are willing to do what production tells them because they're so raw that they need direction. And a lot of these things that happened, a lot of these sit downs, a lot of these moments, these confrontations were because these people were willing to like get back in the room together when a lot of the times you would just like walk away. And so I think Brittany gained respect for the fact that she kind of kept the show going. She kind of kept the friend group together. She didn't allow like a scandal to happen where like she broke, like that happened with Jax and everybody hated Jax. Nobody would film with him. And like, it wasn't like that. She basically was the one continuing to film with him and continuing to stay with him. So everyone else was like, we have no choice but to stand them. So, you know, they got away with a lot, but then so I didn't really like have sympathy for her anymore for that. So then when it comes, you know, Vanderpump Rules basically ends for them. They get canceled during the pandemic. We lose Brittany and Jax. And then somehow they weaseled their way back into Bravo. Like Jax just was like a cockroach that would like never die, which is kind of why I love him too. And
You have
they
to
are able
accept
to,
it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They meaning just people like that who have a goal and they're like, I mean, I don't want to be like no morals, but kind of no morals. Like I'll do whatever to get back
yes,
in the good graces or to put food on my table. I mean, at some point, it's a little bit admirable. People, I mean, Denise Richards is doing OnlyFans. Like
yes,
I couldn't,
exactly.
but
I see the
do
effort
you?
there to work. And it's like we see some of the opposite relationships where like the guy doesn't want to film or he also doesn't want to have like a job outside of the show, or like just some of these like Klingon men, like these guys that date the girls in the show or marry the girls in the show that like don't bring a lot. Like they both bring a lot. Like they both are a dynamic couple. So people like love watching them. And I think when it came to the Valley being filmed, we were all excited to kind of get them back on because we knew we left off like we just always wondered like what was going to happen with them because it
Mhm.
was shocking that they got married in the first place. And then it was
I
like, oh my
know.
God, they've been married now for a few years. And Jax was like loving being a dad and being a husband. And like we were just seeing this, but we couldn't believe it. It was like we literally had to see it to believe it. But it's how like the power of Instagram and the power of social media, like you're only gonna believe what you're like being told. So for a while, everybody believed Jax because he was online telling us like me and Brittany have the perfect family. We are the perfect couple now. Everything's great in our hood in the Valley. And then Valley cameras pick up and it just shattered all of this idea that they had like gotten their shit together and that they're like messier and worse for each other than ever. So
I
I
thought it
think,
was PR. I thought this
yeah,
whole thing was PR up until honestly, like recently, I guess, or up until she moved out to that Airbnb. I literally, well, no, like that. I
no,
still
I
thought
still
it was
believe
like
that
PR. Like
too.
the whole thing, even like when they at the season finale, like when they picked cameras back up and then he's like, no, actually I canceled the therapy appointment, like it's all PR. Like I don't know, I don't know. I There's something so naive about her that kind of annoys me. Like I'm not a huge Britney stan. I think she's cute and sweet. Her mom scares the shit out of me.
Same.
um the eyebrows on both parties and Lala is insane.
No,
um
wild. They clearly go to the same
they look
Botox person who like needs to be fired.
Yeah, they
Like,
literally look like a Disney supervillain, like or a Disney like queen villain situation.
it's
And
wild.
I just I don't know. I mean, the Valley was great. I don't know. I mean, I do you think that Jax really had like so much money to where she was like, I'm clinging on and I'm going to be on this show and I'm going to be on Vanderpump Rules and I'm going to be on The Valley and I'm like, come hell or high water, I'm going to marry this guy because also she said she put down 50-50 on the house. So like she's
Yeah,
obviously getting paid from VPR and The Valley, of course, and like whatever her Weight Watchers endorsements and things like that. But
true.
um I don't know. I don't
No,
know. And
I
then
think,
now that she has money, like to stand on her own, that she left his ass.
yeah,
I don't
that's the thing.
know.
I think, okay, you're definitely right about that. I don't think she was with him for money at all. I mean, he was living in that studio apartment, that like jank studio apartment when she met
Yeah.
him. Like, I don't think it was money. I think it was the show. I think it was fame. And I think it was, not everybody even values money like that, especially if you're not from money, like I think she's kind of down to earth in that sense. I don't think it was about like, oh, I need to be like wearing Louboutins and like holding Gucci bags. Like she's not really that
Right.
type of girl. I think it was just like, I need to be on this show because her mom was a fan of Vanderpump Rules. This is the lore of
Oh,
Brittany, is that her mom watched the show, but she had never seen it. And
okay.
that's
Her
and
jam.
it's clear that her and her mom are like besties. I'm sure they were on their couch popping
Which is
popcorn, watching seasons 1 through 3 together. And then
they
she
should
goes
be
to
on.
Vegas and she meets Jax.
No, I know. They should be on that show, Smothered on TLC.
Yes. Yes, they should.
Truly.
They would be perfect for that.
And no shade to Brittany. Like she is a pretty girl, but like I don't know. Like Jax is gonna see her at the nightclub in Vegas and be like, oh, like that's the one.
Yeah, she was clear that she came in and like, no shade because I'm kind of trad wifey too. Like I do love to cook, clean, make a nice home, take care of my man. Like I am like
Cancer
that.
of you, yeah. Hmm.
But I think that she had that southernness, and then like it was the combination of when his dad died, and like he just needed her. He needed a girl like Brittany, and
Yeah,
everybody in the friend group was like, you need Brittany to balance you out. Like you're a
it's true.
psycho where you're gonna end up alone, you're gonna end up like in a ditch somewhere, like you need her. And so he, I think, felt the pressure from the producers of the show, the friend group, everybody to like make it work with her. And I think she probably felt the same way too. Like, okay, if I don't get over the cheating and I don't get over all these awful things that he recorded and said about me, about not wanting to find me attractive and have a family with me and all that, like she just like swept that under the rug because I think they were just grasping together to like they were more powerful together than they were separate. So they were like, let's just stay a power couple. And
But
now it's like I think you can only fake it till you make it for so long.
I agree. And then what's up with this, like him coming for her drinking and stuff, like on the valley? Like, I'm sorry. I have severe stomach issues and like anxiety induced IBS and I don't even know GERD or like whatever the fuck. I throw up so much. It's insane. And it is because I think I mean, he's a raging narcissist. We know. I think that's why he's so charismatic and we know his flaws, but
Yes.
to be around somebody like that, especially when you're like so empathetic, it doesn't even matter if you're aware or not. The body remembers, and like if you're subconsciously getting put all that pressure, one little sip of alcohol, I'm literally throwing up for hours, same as her. So it has nothing to do with like a stomach ulcer, which maybe she did have, or anything like that, heartburn, like whatever. It is the alcohol but it's not because she's drinking and she's not like fucked up that she's like throwing up. It's literally the anxiety induced stomach issues, IBS, GERD, like okay, whatever else, because of the amount of like toxicity she's been in for almost a decade, which by the way, I didn't realize that they were almost together for a decade. That's crazy.
Yes, it is true that when you have stress and outside factors, environmental factors going on, putting my psychology hat back on, that
Right.
it is true. Like these out can cause you to have internal dysfunction. It
Mhm.
really is you've got to clear like that cortisol out of your life.
Yeah.
And she clearly is constantly holding everything in and kind
Yeah.
of keeping that like Southern Belle smile on, even though everything inside is crumbling. And I think
Yeah.
it's catching up to her. And, one of the first quotes from Sheena after the Valley had wrapped last year was like, I've been hanging out with Brittany and she hasn't thrown up one time. And
Oh yeah.
Sheena was basically confirming to everybody, like, look, Brittany's already healing since even just admitting that she like is thinking about divorcing Jax. And I think where we're really going to have a breakthrough with this is when something is, oh, sorry,
Oh,
my dog. Oh my God. That's what I get
oh,
for
you're
having
good.
typical candy. um,
You're good.
we like the one thing with her is that we are going to have to wait and see like if she's going to file, because until something is filed from Brittany, we can't really like cross this bridge with her, because it's just like kind of what's going on a little bit with on Orange County Housewives, where it's like you have a friend that's always complaining about their man
Right.
and calling you and like, this is bad and this is bad and I hate this and I'm so unhappy, but like they never ever leave. And that's
Right.
like, we all have a breaking point. It doesn't make us a bad friend. It doesn't make us like not a girl's girl. It just means that we have to set a boundary at some point. And at some point I
Right.
have to set this boundary with Brittany and Jax. Like, are you guys going to work it out and get back together, or are you going to divorce? Because like it's going to take a lot to flip me into not being on Jax's side, but like it's not impossible. Like with new information, maybe that's
Right.
going to come out on the Valley. I could potentially be like, holy shit, Brittany was the one being like, abused in this situation pretty much. And some of the rumors
And I
I've
mean,
heard,
go
have
ahead.
been wild. They've been wild. Like I just have heard, substance abuse stuff. I heard that like maybe during filming, allegedly things were like being thrown. So like, I
Mhm.
don't think that she was in a physical, altercation, but maybe Jax was just acting like erratic and stuff. And then that can make you
Right.
feel unsafe. So, I mean, yeah, I don't condone any of that. I don't want to see him act like that.
Well, and I mean, she's definitely in a toxic relationship. She's definitely in an abusive relationship, whether it be physical. I mean, God forbid, I hope not, but definitely emotionally and mentally, right? Like it's definitely abusive. Like I think anybody who has a brain can see that. But at the end of the day, my thing with that is like you kind of chose your bed and you lie in it now. Like, oh, I don't know, I might cut this out, but it's like I agree. Like I'm just like, how many times can you cry wolf if you're not gonna do anything about it? And two, did you see that she was dating, what was it, some guy from The Bachelor?
Yes, I did see that, but I think that's Lori K Publications working
Okay.
overtime. I do. I think that their PR is, which she represents a lot of people in the reality TV world, and I think that like the devil works hard, but like Lori K works harder, and so I just don't believe anything really that ever comes out about that stuff. Like to
Yeah.
me, again, Brittany and Jax are together until I don't even think they're legally separated. Like
No, they're not.
so I just have a feeling like any of this stuff is just put out there from their camp to kind of get us to like, root for her. But I just, ugh, it's hard.
Now, I saw over the weekend that I don't know, did you repost this? I don't remember, but they might be rebooting Vanderpump Rules. Kill me.
Okay. Yes. I'm hearing so
Not
many
interested.
rumors.
Not interested.
Yep. I don't know if sometimes like I swear there are plants that are out there that like do these like almost like circulate these things to get
Surveys.
like the temperature. And
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, a little birdie told me that, oh, actually, I think it has a lot to do with the rumors from the James Kennedy. Like, I think TMZ stopped him and they were like, hey, any word on when you guys are going to start filming? And he pretty much was like, okay, they've called or we've been speaking, but like there's been no movement. Like almost like there's been like interviews happening because that's what producers will do. Like when they're getting ready to start filming, they'll reach out and be like, what's going on in your life right now? Like they kind of are
Mhm.
just like, tell me where we could, maybe pick up or like, what kind of things are you going to be bringing to the camera? And it made it seem like they have been asked a lot. All of the cast members have been asked a lot about what's going on and who they would be willing to film with, etc. And it's just like not looking good. So then now they're exploring other cast members and other routes because they keep dipping back into the VPR. And it seems like nobody's like either wanting to, ready to, or like willing to move on from last season yet. So they're like, given no other choice but to start looking to recast. And now
Okay,
I noticed like they're posting pictures of people and new cast members, and I don't know, there's just
right.
things flying around.
But here's the thing. They already tried to reboot it with Dana and Max and whoever of it all. Okay? It
Yeah.
didn't
Ugh.
work. Everybody was racist and got fired. Second
Yeah.
of all, the ice, oh my god, cancel the show. Oh my god, cancel it. I think it's on pause. Keep it on pause indefinitely, dude. If I have to hear one more thing about fucking Ariana and Scandival, I'm gonna kill myself. That
Yeah.
I honestly, I think you said you're a fan. I saw something that you posted. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Literally, everyone cheats. I don't care. And it's
Yep.
not that I'm condoning it, but it's like literally who made you like the fucking I don't know, like spokesperson of like cheating. It's just, and why are you getting, I'm happy for her getting all of these deals. Like 100%. She should have left his ass years ago. And he is a worm with a mustache, like truly looks like a worm, and like his
No,
hairstyles
he's
are crazy and
disgusting.
like he's weird. But like I don't like she's dating somebody else, like literally like move the fuck on if you don't care, like, which I know to say that you don't care after being with 10 years with somebody, no matter how it ended, that's a lot to unravel, you know what I mean? Just like uncouple. Okay. That's like a lot. That's like almost your whole, that's like your early 20s to mid 30s. Okay. That's like a really significant chunk of your life. So I'm not saying don't care about the relationship, but it's like, or like, oh, you should move on immediately. I understand it's like a death. I understand all these things, but like to constantly just cancel Lisa because she like owns a business with Tom Sandoval. And like, it's like too far, babe. You were on Dancing with the Stars. You're Roxy Hart. You're Love Island. You're all your Bic commercial. You Batteries commercial. Who literally gives a fuck? You're literally dating somebody else. Don't care. Move on.
Yeah, I think that she like, okay, so this is my thing with Ariana. Yes, I'm a big fan.
And I don't want to hear, and I don't want to hear this, not you, but like, I don't want to hear this again next season. I don't think that we should do another cast. I think it should just be a new fucking show. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, just do a different show, something similar or other. I don't know. And Vanderpump Villa didn't really work either. Okay, I'm gonna let you.
Yes. No, I agree. No, I'm glad. I'm actually glad. Like I said, and this is like a perfect example of when I was like, I knew there would be something we disagree about, but this is important. Like, I agree. I get the fatigue. I get it. If I didn't like her, I would literally be so fucking sick of her. She is everywhere. She's gotten every opportunity. And you are right. I think the part that is so annoying is that she is so far removed from it. So for her to still be capitalizing on it does be like, what is going on here? But I don't think that's her fault. Like, I think her phone rings and all she does is pick it up. And like, am I not going to answer if Vic or Broadway is calling? Like,
no, absolutely. I'm actually team capitalize on it. It's the you not wanting to film. It's the you not talking to Sheena. And the gag is she doesn't want to talk to Sheena because she talks to Sandoval. Bitch, are you not looking at the confessionals? Like, I would not talk to Sheena for way more reasons other than her fucking talking to Sandoval. I think that's the least of our worries right now. Like, you know, it's her not only wanting to film with Katie, who... Sure, I like, but like is boring as fuck and has always been a sub character on Vanderpump Rules. Like, it's always been Kristen, Stassi, and Katie. Like, Katie doesn't really bring anything, and the fact that they have basically fired and watered down all of these strong personalities to like the B cast and like not like it shows. You know, like Sheena 10 years later is still trying to be the main character, babe. You're not. Hate Sheena. Sorry, don't like her. I don't hate is a strong word too. Like, she's annoying.
Not that girl.
Yeah, like, okay, like, you know, and yeah, she's OG, and I've never liked Sheena, and I hate when people are like, I'm so good at reading people, and I hope people, they'll grow on you. No, babe, never will. Never will.
She has not changed or evolved in 1% of her personality. She is literally still like, I think a 8-year-old girl that she was, probably younger when they started filming.
Dating like, Eddie,
she like stunted.
Randy
and they
Glanville's
say that about
ex-husband.
Reality TV. Sometimes they're like, you are the age that you are, like when you get made, you just like stay there, kind of like child stars, like Justin Bieber, and like, you know, it's like they kind of just get like stunted. And I think that is what happened to some of this Vanderpump Rules crew. Like, they were just so glorified and rewarded for being like messy 20-year-olds that now they're all in their 30s. Jax is in his 40s. Sandoval's in his 40s. I think Schwartz now is 40. So like, it's time to see some evolution. And you're right. I think that last season, they were way too eager to get cameras up right away. And Ariana wasn't ready to film. Things were just too fresh. So now we waited like so much time. I imagine if she even comes back that she will not have the same feelings where she's like so bothered and like refusing to do things. I think she heard the cries, but I also like don't know if I see a world with her coming back. So,
but also it's like I'm sorry, but without Scandival, there wouldn't have been last season. Like, there was nothing else to discuss. No, like and that's sad. Like, you guys are so fucking boring. You have nothing else to talk about. There's nothing else going on in your lives. Like, if this was OG cast, yes. At the end of the day, if this was Jax, Stassi, Katie, Kristen, Tom Schwartz, and Tom Sandoval with Ariana, this would have been 3 episodes max. Yep. No way. There's no way. This would have not lasted 2, almost 3 fucking seasons shoved down our throat. The gag is her brother is now engaged to somebody named Rachel. And Karma could not be more ironic for me. Like, now you have to have a sister-in-law named Rachel. the irony is not lost on me. I'm not saying she deserves that. I'm just saying that's crazy.
It is. It is wild. No, it's the whole situation is crazy. I'm interested to see what happens. I'll watch. I'll be watching. I will, even if it's bad. I'm watching.
I said that last year, but I probably won't. Now, I didn't watch the Rachel of it all. Like, I took I don't think I watched season 10 because it like got really boring. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then I picked it back up with Scandival, which, God, I honestly shouldn't have done, but whatever. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm on the fence there. Okay, I want to move on really quick to Wes Wilson of oh my God. Wes Wilson of Summer House. He has a new dating show, I think, coming on YouTube, complex.com. I have no idea. Something like that.
Yeah, YouTube. I was able to watch the first episode. I don't know what it was. I'm like the perfect demographic for this. When they're like, who the fuck would watch this? It's me.
Me.
Hello. Hi, it's me. Like, I ran to youtube.com. Like, I watched, it's only 11 minutes long. So these little shorts that they're filming are just little like snippets. And I enjoyed it. I don't know. I'm embarrassed.
No, I mean, don't be. I haven't watched it yet, but I think it's crazy that, I don't know, am I like a little bit like, dare I say, proud of him for capitalizing on this Summer House? Like my, and I'm not saying proud. Let me explain. What I hate now in 2024 is when people like come on for like, Housewives or Bravo shows or whatever, and they don't have their business plan together. They don't have their shit together. And honestly, kudos to Wes Wilson for having a goal in mind and really capitalizing on this. I'm not saying that what he did to Sierra was wrong, but I also think she was like a bit harsh on it. And it's like,
she used him for
like lighten up a bit.
In my opinion.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, you weren't even like kissing him. You really thought he wasn't gonna fuck anybody else? Like, you guys were casually dating. Like, and I understand there's gray area there, and I've kind of forgotten, like whatever of it all. And I guess like he introduced her to his parents, and I mean, I do understand. Like, if I'm introducing you to like my mom, it doesn't mean jack shit because her opinion doesn't mean anything to me. But like, maybe like he has like a closer relationship with his parents that are like more like friends versus like it's not like that. Whereas like her, it's like I'm only bringing home my husband to my parents. Okay, whatever. Then have that conversation. I don't think you should hold him to the fire, or like maybe you should have taken the leap of faith and stood on business and been like, I want X, Y, and Z. Yes or no? Because how are you gonna like? Now, if he flat out lied to her, which I don't think that he did, they just never had clear conversations from what I remember. And they're both at fault for that. You guys didn't stand on business and say, I want X, Y, and Z. Okay, Wes, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. This is, I want a relationship. I'm not going to hook up with somebody with, blah, 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 blah. And I understand that she felt kind of used in that situation. I think we've all been there. We can all empathize in that. But at the same time, why should he be so punished?
Yes, I agree. They went way too hard on him on the reunion. I've even seen interviews with Paige being like, I totally regret like grilling him because she thought what was going to be like, I'm just going to, like, she doesn't think about the audience, which is why she's a good reality star. She is kind of just authentically doing things. Yes. So I think she was really sticking up for her friend in a moment, almost like they were just like out to dinner and not thinking about the fact that all of these people now are going to come for them with their pitchforks. So I think she has a little bit of regret about like firing everybody up about it. Cause again, it wasn't that serious. Like they weren't that serious. So it was that. Plus again, with like, going back to the Sierra of it all too, like she, I think, she's done this with a couple of these guys on these shows now where it's like, okay, I'm going to choose them. I'm going to be like the one that pursues them and like kind of like goes for it with Austin and with, with West and being like, okay, I'm going to do it. But then when it's not reciprocated, it's like they're the devil. And it's like, that's okay. But like, she obviously cannot handle rejection, which is why I don't think she puts herself out there very much. And I think that it's just a combination of like, okay, yes, she was totally, you know, they didn't communicate well. I don't want to take away from her that like she probably had real feelings in there somewhere. I'm not saying she didn't really like him, but I think that it just got played up so much because everybody was kind of calling a while for her for like, do we even need Sierra? Like, she's not bringing anything to the show. Like, after so many seasons, they are going to get rid of you. And everybody has this fourth wall kind of idea in the back of their heads, like, I need to be in the mix. And I
Right.
think it was just like, there were probably some real feelings in there, but I think it was played up for the show a little bit. And I think West now, like, when they, you know, he part of his storyline was him getting a job outside of the show. And like I posted that
Right.
even to my Instagram last week. I was like, you know what? Love him or hate him, like you got to give Wes some props because he didn't just coast on his summer house success. He really got a real corporate paycheck job outside of the show that he seems to
Who
actually
is
like
also
work
okay
at.
with him being on Summer House, which a lot of the other cast jobs or company like were not okay with it. Like Paige and Hannah got fired from Betches um due to Summer House because it was like about to air and they were like no. You know, Carl, don't even get me started on Carl with all of
It's a great
his
example. It's like he didn't get a
I
job outside of the show, and a lot of people were pissed at him. Like West is learning from Carl's mistakes. He got a job outside of the show. He's making some. He's not just being a summer house fuckboy. Like he is trying to have a career. You know, and I appreciate that about him. So
yeah.
I watched the show. I gave him the view, and I haven't shared or commented yet, but I'm gonna try to support at least.
Well, and then are you close with the Summer House cast? Because I know that you go to like some of their events, or do you just like what's that about?
Yes.
How can you bring a +1?
I know it is crazy. Like again, I think it all goes back into almost like dating. Like if you just set your mind to like some of these
Right.
crazy things that you're like, I don't care what it's going to take. I'm going to like get myself there. I am going to just go for it. So I kind of look at it like that. Like, okay, I know that there's a way. I know that there is a path to get in there somewhere. So like it is about finding it. And sometimes it's just the magic of New York City, like meeting the right
Right.
people, being in the right place at the right time. And I had went to like a housewives viewing party a little over a year ago that I met some other content creators and stuff, and they knew somebody that knew somebody. And one of the girls that I'm friends with, that I'm a really good mutual friend of with Danielle, and her and Danielle are close, and they do a lot of things together. And so I think that was really like my gateway into kind of like knowing some of the inside things about like events that were happening. And I haven't made it to the summer house yet. I haven't actually
I would
been
like
there.
to go. I think
want to
I've
go
heard that you have to
so
sign
bad.
like an NDA and like get rid of your phone.
Yes.
I'm totally okay with that. Like,
Yeah, the events that
sign
I've
me
been to
up.
have all been stuff that was like being filmed in the city, and I was able to find out like where they were filming and whatnot. And I had to sign an NDA, and hopefully I'll be like in the background of some scenes that were filmed over the summer. And when I was in Montauk over the weekend, I was with my friend that's mutual friends with Danielle, and they were texting, was like, yeah, come here. So I actually did go to meet up with Danielle and was having a drink with her for a little while. And it's fun being with her now because she's technically not on this next season, but I know she's been hanging out and like filming a little bit. So I heard some rumors and some rumblings about some potential fights and stuff going on inside of the house. Maybe Lindsay and Paige are still not in a great place. Maybe, again, some of the Sierra and West awkwardness. Obviously, Lindsay and Carl aren't necessarily on like the best of terms yet still. So there is still going to be a lot going on in this next season. I'm excited, but I am praying. I mean, they're not done filming for the year yet. They usually wrap up after Labor Day. And like, I've been inching my way closer and closer, like praying somehow I get out there before the end of this season. I
Oh
would
my
love
God, please
to
keep us
show up.
posted. Yeah,
We'll see. We'll see. But it's still good to like kind of have some insider tips. And it sounds like it's going to be a good season.
totally. Well, also, I know when you said on like one of the recent episodes that you did that like Danielle is really messy. Where, babe? Maybe this last season, but she's been on there for like 5 seasons and I've barely noticed.
Really? See, I don't know. I think she always,
no shade,
was like a
but
substantial, like deliverer of rumors, deliverer of like a bone collector, if you will. And
Really?
I think even going back to times when she was like kind of hooking up with Carl a little bit, when him and Lindsay still kind of had a thing going
That's so
on, or like,
embarrassing.
you know, or even just her, like she is so the same person off camera as she is on camera. Like even when I was with her, like seeing her at the bar this weekend, like she's running around, she's seen somebody, she's running up to them to say hi. She like knows the bartender. She is just like in the mix, and like I see her like just constantly like talking and being like, okay, this person told me this, and then now I'm going over to this other, and I'm telling them what I just heard over there. And like, I see her doing it in real life. So I think on the show, she's like behind the scenes.
Okay, I hear okay, now that's making more sense because I'm also thinking maybe there's just stronger personalities on the show or maybe like fan favorites and they get more screen time than others, but really maybe she's like the matchmaker behind closed doors and is really like curating and producing like all of these conversations and stuff. But at the same time, I just think it's because I don't think she has like a super strong personality. Like I think she kind of gets like muted and like lost in the shuffle in my opinion. Now this last season was kind of crazy with the whole Balloon Joe of it all, babe. He's a balloon guy.
She is like that though. That's what I'm saying. That's like really her in real life.
But you in your mind are founder and CEO, and yet you're hooking up with a man who blows up balloons.
Yeah. She is, I don't know. Think she is actually like an alpha. So I think like I see this even with some of my girlfriends where they almost like date down so that they can be the CEO and founder of the relationship. And then they've got their man who maybe is not up to par. I just get that she, even with her, like, I don't know if you know, she had that little fling with like Joe Bradley from the Southern Hospitality show.
I heard that.
So he's a lot younger. He literally like works at a bar, you know, in the reality. Like she's not really dating other CEOs and founders.
Are you reading me? Living like looking in the mirror at the moment.
It's like, I would get along. That's okay. That's okay. That's a dynamic that works for you. It is, even with Lindsay.
It actually doesn't work for me. I'm in severe therapy. It actually doesn't at all. I would like to get out of that narrative. Yeah. I think I would get along with everybody at the summer house, including Danielle, except for Carl. There is nobody who blinks and sends me over the edge more than Carl Radke. Lindsay's nice. I would read him for fucking filth. And you know what? God's still working on me because that's not a nice thing to do when somebody isn't ready to hear. But whoever his therapist is, he should definitely fire them because they're not being honest with him and having him take accountability. I could put together a motherfucking montage about Carl 7.0 with the same shit he says every goddamn season. I'm getting a new job. I'm Carl 2.0. I'm Carl 3.0. I'm just really struggling. And I'm not shitting on anybody's mental health. I want to get that clear, but he weaponizes mental health and therapy. And at the end of the day, I still don't think that he's processed his brother's death. And that's okay. I'm not saying there needs to be a timeline of when you have to process certain things. But the fact that you're sitting here trying to overcome and like do things before you're ready and in turn weaponize therapy, weaponize Lindsay, who, quote, has been your best friend for 7 years. Bitch, you know who the fuck she was from day one. I've never been a Lindsay apologist or like a Lindsay stan. I will say actually this last season, when everybody was hating her, I was loving her because I was like, thank you, bitch, for not bowing down and making, and I know she's older and I know she's like been, through it. So I didn't think that she would like cower down, but there is a way when you're walking on eggshells that you're like, oh, okay, like maybe, and like being gaslit, that you're like, oh, okay, maybe I should apologize or I should be soft. No, I'm glad. She was like, bitch, I am soft. This is not the fucking time. I've given you 8 months to find a job. You're 40 years old. What are you doing? I think that is a very real and honest conversation. And I saw myself a lot in her this last season. Kind of always. I don't know. And again, another fire sign. Like, I just very blunt and very like, I don't, and the thing about women being harsh like that, and I don't even want to use the word harsh because I want to use the word like expressive and like having expectations, is you get shit on but if it were a man, it would be fine. But like,
Yeah.
because she's a woman and supposed to be, 1950s trad wife, I mean, no shade to the trad women, but that's not her personality, and that's not mine either. I want to be a housewife when I want to be a housewife, and I want to be dancing on a table when I want to dance on a table, and I want to be a founder and CEO when I want to be a founder and CEO. Like, and I can be all of those things at once when the time comes. Oh my God, I'm getting so upset. My equipment's flying.
No,
The hug in the soft in the kitchen.
Yeah. It was a line.
She's better than I am. She is better than I am. There's no way.
I think they were just like, she was so detached, like disassociated by them.
Dissociated.
Yeah, that she didn't even like register to her. I think like, okay, I think this is my thing with Lindsay too. So I tried to stay like neutral, which is, I do try. I think by the end of the season, a lot of the other people were feeling like you too, like, okay, we're team Lindsay because this has just gone on too far, and a very Jax like, behavior of Carl to constantly every season give the same spiel of like, okay, I know I wasn't great this season, but like next season I'm going to come back and I'm going to kill it. And then we're in next season and it's like, okay, it's kind of like that meme that's like 2027 is going to be my year. It's like, okay, but when are we going to get to the point where we can really see this like evolution? And that's kind of like this theme, like we crave this from these people. And we're getting evolution from Lindsay, even though in my opinion, it was a little slow. Like I'm not the biggest Lindsay fan at all times either, because I think it's about delivery. I think that she actually was right, but like I didn't like her delivery on a lot of the stuff. She would have been able to really like get me if she would have been able to like say things articulately in a way that it didn't come off like complaining. Because I don't like when people just complain about things. I like when people do things. So to me, it was almost like this idea of like, okay, I'm coming to you every time and complaining that you haven't done this yet. But like, it was like too much in his core. I don't know. It was weird. It was something like wasn't connecting there for me. Like they clearly just weren't a good match.
Yeah, I agree. But don't you think she was just at her wit's fucking end, especially if you're dealing with this all week and the cameras aren't there. And then you get to the weekend and you're like, fuck, now I have to spend the whole goddamn weekend with this guy.
I think that is actually the exact reason why I couldn't do it. The reason why I couldn't really like get fully behind her and like go all in is because she was waiting to have all of these conversations in the house on the weekend on camera when they're living together and they're together all week, in that little New York City apartment that is so fucking haunted now. Like the fact that she's still living there
with the baby nursery, that's giving
birthing this child that's going to be in Carl's old bedroom.
Yeah, you need to get the shit out of that. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm hanging up with you and I'm immediately going over there with Sage and like knocking on her door. Like, girl, you cannot have this baby in this house. Yeah. So I think that to me, it was like, okay, if this was a real relationship to you, if this is your man, you're engaged, it's not about the show. Like you're actually going to put the work in off camera. And I just got the feeling like she already knew going into the summer, like everybody kind of tries to say that Carl was the one that blindsided her and like knew he was going to break up with her, but like drug it out. When actually he re-signed the lease with her like a month before he broke up with her. I don't think he would have done that if he was planning on breaking up with her 4 weeks later. So that to me has been debunked. But the fact that like she just like couldn't do it off camera and they didn't put the work in off camera to make it seem like it was a real relationship, and it all kind of gave like PR summer house TV relationship to me. I wasn't invested enough to choose. I thought the whole thing was kind of like bullshit to me.
Sorry, I don't know if it was thunder or a car. Okay, sorry.
Oh, I'm glad I'm like drumming up so many things.
I'm like
the atmosphere.
We're so upset that the thunder gods are coming in.
Yes.
Oh my God. No, I'm with you.
I I just couldn't really believe that they were real. So I couldn't really get that invested. I'm like, okay, this is just like for the show. It was giving me like Brittany and Jack's, like, are you really getting divorced or is this for the show? Like, I'm like, okay. And then the fact that she really did move on so quickly. I mean, it wasn't giving like heartbroken. It was just giving like replacement. And I think that also made me also like, I can't feel that bad for her. It doesn't seem like she's even feeling that bad. So if we're more invested and we're more worked up than she is, then it ain't working. Like it ain't working for me. So I don't know.
Well, and I feel like we knew that, right? Like she's not gonna heal. Like she's just gonna jump to the next guy. I do think I did see some growth. Like I see some growth in her communication and just really trying to have those direct conversations with Carl and be, in my opinion, the softest that she could have been. You know, I understand that the delivery wasn't there, but I really think that was her trying, because I could see myself in that situation. And I'm like, sorry, bitch, this is the nicest I can be. Like, you know, this is truly the bottom for me. And if it's not enough for you, then I don't know what to tell you. But so I totally hear what you're saying. But yeah, we knew that she wasn't gonna like go to therapy and go on a sabbatical and like go to Bali for 7 weeks and like at this spiritual retreat and like really heal and like, you know, whatever. Okay. Like we knew she was gonna go to the next guy. Now I will say at least she upgraded and like found somebody to procreate with that has a real job and money and kind of everything that she's looking for. So I don't know. I think it kind of goes two ways, because like what is that, right? And as a psychologist, doctor, you know, it's like, is it really like when you are at rock bottom and you're like really tired of dating the same guy over and over, and you just kind of really just wake up and you're like, ew, gross. And then you just, you know, when those people just like in 2 weeks, they find the love of their life. Now, I agree. I don't know that that's necessarily real, but then sometimes those people are together for 30 years. So who am I to judge? And who am I to say that it's not real because you found the love of your life on your like second wife or something like that? You know what I mean? Like,
yes, exactly.
I don't know.
Everybody's
I
on
am
their
glad
own
that this
journey.
guy has a job.
Yes, I think we're like, you know, bringing it back to like how we started the show, like manifesting what you really want, like speaking it into the universe. Like Lindsay was like, I want a man who is successful, has money, like very specific. Like I want a rich, like that's okay. You can like what you can want whatever you want.
I'm gonna write this down.
You know, like that. It's okay that she wanted a man that had money. There's because she values that. That is worth. Some girls want a guy with sense of humor. She doesn't want a guy making her laugh. She never once was like, Carl, you're not making me laugh enough. She wanted Carl to work and make money. She really, really wanted that because she knows, she's very hyper aware that to raise a child in New York City, you have to have a certain amount of money. She doesn't want to leave the city. I think she sees herself being a true like NYC socialite style woman. Probably even if Bravo ends, maybe getting some kind of Stassi style spinoff for herself. Like she, I think, is going to be a lifelong, like she'll probably go into like mommy influencing. Like she, I think, wants that. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. There's different strokes for different folks. Like, is it for me? No, like I don't even know if I want to have kids. So for me to think about the fact that she wanted a kid so bad, like I honestly don't empathize because I've never wanted something so bad like that. Like
I think that's cool. Me either. And I think the older that I get, and I think the older that I get and the more therapy that I do, I wanted a child really bad when I was a kid, teenager, even early 20s. And then once I started to like really heal and kind of heal my own wounds, I was like, oh, actually, I kind of only wanted a kid. And not if I have a kid now, but like at the time when I was thinking, I was like, oh, I realized that I only wanted a kid so I could have something that loves me back. But you can't like make a child love you back, right? Or you can't like force love, right? So now I feel like I really like my life. And it is so expensive. I live in Houston. Apparently it's like one of the cheapest cities in the fucking like metropolitan, like one of the largest cities. And it's like fairly inexpensive. Babe, we're out here struggling too, because the cost of living, like the cost of living is higher than whatever. Okay. It's not adding up.
Yeah,
But
it's
I don't
hard.
want to be here forever. I would love to live in New York, and I would love to, because I've done the LA thing. If I'm going to move back to California, it's going to be NorCal or SoCal. And I'm talking Orange County or fucking Santa Barbara or Montecito or like somewhere like that. Not even San Francisco, because I'm not that artsy, surprisingly. But anyways, something like that, okay? Like you need fucking money. I want to shop at Whole Foods. I have it on my vision board. I just want to be
Yes.
able to afford my bills, eat good, go to yoga, like buy my dog, bullshit, and do fun stuff, travel the world. I don't need to do first class, but okay, just in my life, in my head, that's simple. Now, if I want a kid and I do choose to have kids, I want to put it out there like it is truly a choice. And I think that's also so great because like I would know that I'm actually choosing that child to bring into the world unselfishly, from my own selfish needs for somebody to love me. Like I'm going to accept that child for what they are and have a nature versus nurture type of relationship and just really try to, raise the child great. I'm not really in a rush. I don't want to freeze
Yep.
my eggs. I don't want to do it. If it
I don't
happens,
want
it
to
happens.
either. Yep.
I just, and I think that's like really healing. And yeah, I can't empathize with her wanting something so bad, but I think it also stems from her having a broken family, her mom dying, right? Or divorcing, I don't remember. And
Yeah, her mom and
um
her have been estranged like since the first season of the show.
right. And maybe that's on her journey and her generational whatever to kind of heal through another being. And I think that's great. And she's having a girl. I really thought she was gonna
Yes.
have a boy.
I was too, as she gives boy mom energy, but
She
I
gives
think
boy mom
again, like the
energy.
universe, yeah, has crazy ways of like giving you what you need. And I think, like you said, like it is possibly an opportunity for her to real heal this generational trauma. Like she's really going to get this opportunity to raise this little girl and hopefully be the best mom ever and do the opposite to her, all the things that her mom did to her. And I hope it ends, it ends with us. Like I hope it ends with Lindsay. Like I hope that
Yeah.
cycle does end. I'm always gonna have a little bit of just like nervies for her. I hope that isn't because in a perfect world, generational trauma just ends when you have a kid. It's gonna take a lot of work for her to not continue the generation to continue into the next girl. Hopefully
Right.
she doesn't just, you know, continue the cycle. And I hope to see an
Right.
engagement from this man. I mean, we hear a lot about the baby, but we don't know a lot about him. And I actually, for some reason, I don't know until I see them getting married. I don't even know if like they're going to be together. I mean, if she's going
Or
to
if
be living
he's
alone as like a
real.
single mom raising this child. I mean, I don't think they live to. I mean, I don't know. We don't know yet. So
Yeah, I
a
don't
lot of
know.
unanswered questions about that. But of course, I want the best for her. I want the best for that
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get to see it play out in Summer House. If not, I don't think this season, but maybe in seasons to come, or like you said, their spinoff or something like that. I think that would be great. I know he's like a working man. He doesn't really like to be in the spotlight, so I totally respect that as well. But yeah, I'm excited to see what comes. But okay, well, Amanda, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's quite a long episode, but I'm so excited. We are gonna do a twofer. So she's on today, and then we're gonna film hers right after this. So you guys go. Sorry, I stuttered. Hold on. You guys go subscribe to Bella Talks TV anywhere you get podcasts and on YouTube, so you can watch our episode next, and it'll be linked in the show notes. Amanda, where can everybody follow you?
Yes, be sure to follow me, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, all the things at Bella Talks TV and my YouTube too. Been really getting into the video. It's 2024, so make sure you go rate, review, subscribe, all the things.
Yeah, it's tough. I saw you just got on TikTok the other day.
I literally just made my first TikTok. I'm doing my best to keep up with the times. It's like I've resisted for so long, but I have got to use it because it is a whole new like world on there.
World,
So
yeah.
it's tough keeping up, but we're doing our best as we can. These geriatric millennials.
Truly, we really are. Thank you guys so much for watching. You know what to do. Please rate, subscribe. Jesus Christ.
It's always a mouthful. I hate saying all those things too.
It's a mouthful. Please rate, subscribe, follow anywhere you get podcasts and on social media at coffee.meets.vodka and on YouTube, Coffee Meets Vodka. Share with your friends. Tag us in your stories so we can repost you. We love to hear your DMs about topics that we should talk about. And feel free to email us, coffeemeetsvodkapod@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.